On planet Vegeta in age 732, Vegeta was born into the world. It was roughly at the same time there was a massive cosmic earthquake that happened. King Vegeta thought that might have been from his son, so he went to check his power level, but he was heavily disappointed when he saw nothing on the scouting device. He decided to keep the prince among the low class since he has no power level just in case. Everyone taunted the king, and the king taunted his mate for delivering a weak child. After a few weeks, King Vegeta was urgently called into the nursery. The king hoped his son's power level had spiked, but what he found shocked him even more. His son was out of the nursing capsule and crying his lungs out, pushing high amounts of energy. Some infants were gone and nowhere to be found. The nursery has exploded and Prince Vegeta calmed down, seeing the sunny planet for the first time. Luck would have it for Frieza to be on the planet at the time, so he went to check it out, and what he saw was quite surprising. King Vegeta tried hiding it, saying he was angry for his son to be so weak. Frieza had none of it and picked up the prince. In a split second, little Vegeta went and kicked the tyrant, sending him away into the rubble, starting to cry again and sending large amounts of energy all over the planet again. King Vegeta was scared for his life and tried coming close to his son, only for him to poof out of existence after struggling to come close to his son. After that, Frieza thought he can surely use the Saiyan Prince, or rather the former prince. He decided to bring Bardock up as a new candidate for a Saiyan King, despite the Saiyans saying otherwise. Even if they wanted to so, they're stuck with Bardock. Bardock was told to nurse the young prince and to train him when he has no duty. Bardock agreed, but has other plans though. So with that, Bardock is now King Bardock, with Raditz at his side as Prince Raditz. At age 737, Bardock had a son named Kakarot and wanted his son to have the same potential as the elites, so Bardock was keen on training his son once he reached the certain age. As for the Prince Vegeta, he's now a 5-year-old and knows how to control his power. He doesn't use it at all, but rather is acting weak in front of Frieza and his goons. As much as it was risky, Bardock's plan was to get rid of Frieza once and for all, and Vegeta is the perfect Saiyan for that. Vegeta understood, but didn't know when to hit the hay. Bardock was very specific on the time, but the impatience got the better of Frieza. Frieza thought that Bardock planned on using Vegeta as his weapon to get rid of him. He didn't want that, so he decided to blow the planet up to prevent his own death. That said, Frieza has called on every Saiyan for a distress call on the planet. Bardock saw that as an opportunity and decided to send all of his entire family away just in case something were to happen, and told Vegeta to keep an eye on everything. Vegeta knew what to do, but wasn't sure of Bardock's intentions, questioning the newborn king. Bardock didn't say anything and just prepared departure for anyone he cared about. The time came for Frieza to destroy the planet, and so the ball of destruction was thrown at the planet. Vegeta saw that and stopped questioning Bardock completely. Vegeta intervenes, using his own energy to cancel the ball almost instantly and going up to Frieza, extremely angry at him. Bardock sent 2 pods in different directions. One contained Raditz and the other contained Gine and Kakarot. One went to planet Potofu and the other to planet Earth. Bardock prepared all his comrades for a fight, and so the revolt began. Vegeta on the front lines and the rest of the Saiyans jumping in to aid him. Frieza began the battle by transforming into his second form and attacking the prince out of anger, while the rest of the Frieza force was commanded by Dodoria to attack the Saiyans. Bardock took no prisoners and went straight to demolishing the entire force, along with his comrades, setting his dominance and vowing to avenge the Saiyan race. Frieza, however, had no chance against Vegeta, as all Vegeta did was dodge Frieza's attacks and taunting him. With a swift kick, Frieza was sent through his ship, leaving a massive hole in his ship and crashing it to the planet. Vegeta asked Frieza to power up to his full power, as he will need it, and that's exactly what Frieza had as his intention. Bardock watches in horror as Frieza is getting stronger, breaking his counter. Vegeta, however, was unfazed and watched on, gaining a small little grin actually. Frieza has finally transformed into his final form and called the death of Vegeta, but when he tried rushing, he couldn't. Frieza was stuck in place, he couldn't move an inch. Vegeta has frozen Frieza in place with just his hand and is moving closer to him.
There's a much greater worries on the cosmos right now. I don't have time to deal with you. The entire multiverse has no Omni King, and you want to have your selfish desires?
Frieza was scared shitless, not even paying attention to the Saiyan. Before long, Frieza saw himself disappearing and, getting angry, shot a laser beam towards the planet. Vegeta had no time to react, and before long, the planet became unstable. Vegeta got angered and powered up to get rid of Frieza. Frieza lands down to see the Saiyans beat up, but they managed to defeat anyone that rushed them, including Zarbon and Dodoria.
It's over now. The planet will be doomed in a minute. Let's back up as fast as we can and dish the planet.
Bardock had no idea what Vegeta was talking about until he saw a massive pool of lava shoot out in the distance. Bardock orders the Saiyans to get in their pods and dish the planet. Saiyans pack up in pods in groups of 2 and try escaping. They get into the stratosphere, but the planet explodes and the pods couldn't handle the pressure. Some of the Saiyans have died before even departing. Some in the atmosphere, and very little portion of a couple of pods have escaped. Vegeta was caught in the blast, but survived and was now alone in a vacuum of space. Interestingly, he could breathe just fine in a vacuum. Before long, he tried contacting Bardock to no avail. Fasha responds that she is safe and sound with her son, and a couple of other Saiyans respond that they're fine and they're gonna close in on their respective planets in a few days. With no pod or any idea where he is, Vegeta decides to fly in a vacuum of space, in hopes of finding some kind of civilization. He flies and flies to no avail. However, he comes upon a planet and lands on it. Turns out he landed on Namek, and he sees nothing for miles, apart from a couple settlements far away, to which he goes. He comes across the Namekians, who are scared of him for being a Saiyan. He tells them that they have nothing to worry about, as he just landed here from flying throughout the space. The infestation Vegeta found got confused, but they paid no mind to it. Vegeta says he's hella hungry and thirsty, asking the Namekians for some food. Namekians tell him the water all around them is all they consume, as they don't eat. But they tell him of Namek frogs and dinosaurs that reside on the planet. Vegeta is happy and tells them to bring the entire roasted dinosaur to him so he can eat it, before collapsing from the lack of food. After he awoke and found a dinosaur right in front of him, he dug straight in. The elder Namekian thought the whole dinosaur was too much for the child, but in no time, Vegeta ate the very last bit of that dinosaur with no trouble whatsoever, surprising the elder. Vegeta also drank a bunch of water to satisfy his thirst and thanks the Namekians. The elder is still quite confused on how he got there, and they question Vegeta. Vegeta tells them that he indeed is a Saiyan from now former planet Vegeta, which was destroyed by Frieza. He goes into detail how he defeated Frieza and now has one more to defeat to bring peace to the universe, and finally go check out the state the cosmos is in. The Namekians have no goddamn idea what he's saying, but they take it all in. After a nice meal, Vegeta asks for rough directions towards certain planet locations from the Namekians. They ask him how will he get there, but he just responds, quote unquote, flying there. Much to the confusion of Namekians, they ask him a lot of questions, which annoyed Vegeta. However, a big ship descended in the distance. Namekians sensed it and went to check it out from the distance. Vegeta went along as well. When he arrived there, he couldn't believe his eyes. There stood yet another Frieza Force ship, to which he was quite delighted to see. The Namekians couldn't believe the power they sensed from within the ship. Vegeta was confused on how they knew how to sense power levels without a device. The doors open and Vegeta expects King Cold to appear, but he was left speechless yet again. He did see Cold, but he was in his final form. He was in the same form as Frieza was when he decided to go full power. King Cold questioned his men on whether they are on the right planet, and they confirmed the location. Vegeta, all powered up, comes out from behind the rock and stands right in front of King Cold. King Cold mentions how his son was killed by Vegeta himself, to which Vegeta confirms and smirks quite sourly. King Cold also mentions that he unlocked his final form just to get rid of Vegeta once and for all. Vegeta knew that Cold's second form was on par with Frieza's final form, so Cold's final form is gonna prove at least a little bit more of a challenge. The Namekians watched from afar, thinking Vegeta will get killed almost instantly, obviously judging very poorly because Vegeta's power cannot be sensed. King Cold rushed and teleported all over the place, but Vegeta just stood there as if nothing has happened. King Cold then went for the jab on Vegeta, but managed to break his wrist the second the jab connected. Vegeta just turned around, with King Cold in utter shock and pain. Vegeta decided to give King Cold a good demonstration of a proper jab by jabbing King Cold back. Vegeta's jab did a whole lot of damage than King Cold's, and King Cold was on his knees. Vegeta just commented how this used to be him, bowed on his knees, but no more. Vegeta then unleashed the most powerful attack that went in all directions. With one attack, Vegeta destroyed all that remained of the former Frieza Force, leaving no one in sight. Only rubble remained, and Vegeta was happy with the outcome. Vegeta saw part of the ship that contained the pods and now had a normal way of coming home. He opened the pod and inside was a scouter. He thought that this scouter is gonna be useful for communicating with his fellow remaining Saiyans, but when he tried reaching them, nothing was there but the static. The only ones that answered were Gine and Kakarot. Gine carefully explained how all of them tried reaching Vegeta to no avail. All of them were killed by King Cold to prevent the Saiyans from flourishing yet again. The two were lucky because Vegeta was just in the way, so they decided to go for him. Vegeta told Gine that he has destroyed all remnants of the Frieza and Cold forces, even the Ginyu Force, as they were tagging along with King Cold. That said and done, Vegeta puts in the coordinates for Earth, thanks to the Namekians, and leaves for Earth. On Earth, Gine and Kakarot were waiting on Vegeta to come by. In the meantime, they're staying over at Gohan's house, since they encountered him a while back. He gave them clean clothes and taught them a thing or two about Earth and its nature. Gine and Kakarot are quite fond of the planet and are enjoying their time there. However, they're not keen on relaxing anytime soon. Vegeta arrives and sees an actually nice planet for once. Greenery all around and everything. He got attacked by a mountain lion, but easily got rid of it with a backhand. Gine and Kakarot are both there and welcoming Prince Vegeta. He sees young Kakarot and starts thinking, but it all goes back when he sees a human, that being Gohan. He prepares for battle, but Gine knows and tells Vegeta that he nursed them back to full health once they arrived and got lost and hungry. Vegeta was quite confused, but found that humans are mostly pacifists. With that, Vegeta also joined the family. After a while, even Vegeta got new clothes and was enjoying his time with the gang. Gine and Kakarot trained with Gohan, and he even taught Vegeta a few tricks, like the Kamehameha. Vegeta was too powerful to restrain his power and made an ozone hole with it. Gine and Kakarot got it down quite quickly. Once their day of training came to a close, Vegeta had a question for Gine, and it regarded his real family, as he never knew what his family was like. Gine went to explain Vegeta's father was a proud man, but a bit of a terrible king as he started doing less and less work conquering. But considering it was working for Frieza, he was doing the right thing. Gine never met his mother, as she was sent to a camp by the king because he thought that Vegeta was weak and couldn't fight or anything with no power level. Vegeta was hella annoyed, but it was justified by the fact nothing can read his power. That done, he decided to go investigate something that he needed and left Gine and Kakarot on their own with Gohan. Vegeta flies off planet and follows a nebula heading out of the universe, signifying the center of the cosmos. He flied at such great speed, it far surpassed the speed of light. He got there in 20 minutes, flying at full power, and saw something very disturbing. The whole place was in total darkness, and he was barely able to push through to the dense and dark fog to get to the entrance of the palace. Vegeta called for the Grand Priest frantically to no avail. So he tried getting in only to get confronted by the Xenoguards, who forbid him from entering. He tried fighting them, but they were just too powerful, even for the infinitely strong Vegeta, and Vegeta had to stand down, asking the question of why. The Xeno guards didn't respond and just disappeared. However, Vegeta's Saiyan nature got the better of him and he started with a very powerful Gallic gun, taught by the ex-royalty of his race. The blast managed to punch through the door and he went in rushing. He created a time vortex so he could try efficiently get through the infinite space of the corridor, but he was abruptly teleported outside of the palace. He tried a few more times before passing a decently powerful Gallic gun yet again into the void of the corridor and left the area, returning back to Earth after getting lost a dozen times. He arrived back home and he told the news that his issue stands unresolved to Gine. She wonders if he went to get his brother, but that didn't even cross his mind, which brought him an idea to get him to Earth if he's still alive. Gine decided to help with the cause, and after a bunch of tries, they successfully made contact with Tarble, Vegeta's brother. Vegeta carefully explains why he's calling and their approximate location in the galaxy, sending pod coordinates, and Tarble gets on his way. After about a month of traveling, Tarble is there and he enjoys being on a new planet, which is not only unknown to him, but also rich in resources. Tarble mentioned he met someone there that he liked, so he's gonna stay for just a little bit so he doesn't worry about leaving her alone. Vegeta immediately calls Crush, angering Tarble. But then, the situation takes a wild turn, as Vegeta asks Tarble to stay permanently. Tarble is a little bit weirded out by the request, not wanting to leave his already new home for an even newer one, but Vegeta reassures him that it's for the best, as pretty much all of the Saiyans are here, pointing to Kakarot and Gine. Tarble reluctantly agrees to follow along and stay for the time being. So right now, Tarble, Gine, Kakarot and Vegeta lead quite a surprisingly calm life from here on. However, not for long. Kakarot is now an 11-year-old and Vegeta is pretty much an adult. He hasn't really made any moves to go back to the OMNI King Palace and tries not to. Tarble also grew up into adulthood and is quite happy with the training he's doing with Gine and the gang. Vegeta is not really training as it doesn't count as training to him. Gohan is getting sick and can't move as much as he used to, but things might take a turn on Earth soon. As the Saiyans were catching their dinner, a car popped out of nowhere and Kakarot was the one who crashed into it, totaling the car. A girl crawled out of it, holding her head in pain as she watched Kakarot take a quick peek around the car and herself. Kakarot caught the attention of Gine and Vegeta, who were both on guard. Seeing a girl for the first time around these parts was a glorious sight to see to Gine, but Vegeta wasn't really fond of meeting Earthlings much, as he considered them weaklings. Bulma introduced herself and her intentions, mentioning the Dragon Balls, the myths around them, and how she got here. Vegeta had quite an interest in those said Dragon Balls for some reason, and Gine was just flabbergasted that a girl visited them. Bulma then explains her technology and points to the location of the next Dragon Ball. Vegeta mentions how that is Gohan's house and that the ball surely must be there. Bulma seems delighted that they're gonna give the Dragon Ball up without any struggle, so she rolled with them. Arriving at Grandpa Gohan's, Bulma introduced herself once again and stated her intentions. Gohan knew of the ball, but not what it did. Bulma requested for it to be given to her, so Gohan thought that through before succumbing and giving the ball to Bulma. Bulma was delighted, thanks to Gang, and departs with a bike that pops out of a capsule. With nothing else to worry about, Vegeta asks for all three Saiyans to have a sparring match with him, so they go for it. It ends with Vegeta bodying everyone there, but they get their strength right back up after eating. Once they finish their meal, they go outside to look at the stars, as there is no full moon this night, so they're free to look at it. While they enjoyed their evening, a carriage passed by and they looked as it passed by. All of a sudden, they hear a blood-curdling scream of a girl calling for Kakarot. Turns out, it's Bulma, and they kidnap her for trying to attain the Dragon Balls. Kakarot sprung up really fast and went to help Bulma out. He went on a trolling spree before teaching the bad guys a lesson and releasing Bulma. Bulma mentions that is the Red Ribbon Army and that they're not messing around. But Kakarot doesn't listen and messes up the faces of a few guys. The Red Ribbon guys are trying to escape, but before anything can happen, Vegeta stomps on the ground, which brings out a massive stone spike that impales the main carriage and stops the whole army dead in its tracks. Kakarot brought Bulma and her Dragon Balls, and Vegeta decided to finish the whole job the more easier way. Bulma was brought inside, and now Gohan's little hut became more of an orphanage than a house. Vegeta gets back in after having fun with the Red Ribbon, and Gohan sits everyone down to explain what happened. Apparently, those Red Ribbon guys are also collecting the Dragon Balls and are going to wish for world domination. That took Vegeta and the Saiyans right back to the Frieza days, thinking about collecting all 7 of the Dragon Balls and also getting rid of the Red Ribbon once and for all. That said, their new adventure began. After a bit of searching, they take a bath and all that and head to bed. The next day, they come across a lost turtle and they are trying to find the shore. When they do, the turtle asks the two to wait, and they do so. Turtle then returns with an old man on his back, and of course, it's Roshi. Bulma notices the Dragon Ball and asks for it. Roshi's lewd nature is forcing him to ask Bulma to see her underwear. Since no one really checked to see if Bulma's got nuts, the briefless incident doesn't happen. So Roshi gets the underwear as his eye candy and not something else. They get the Dragon Ball and they go on their merry way. They then go into an unknown village and see the Dragon Radar is beeping. They know the Dragon Ball is here. After a while, they realize that Oolong is haunting the village. Gine would like to teach him a lesson about respecting women, so she's left to deal with him as she pleases. Oolong then comes to pick up a little girl and he falls for Gine's disguise, as all Gine had to do is give him a nice punch and get it over with. She does so and it works. Gine punched Oolong into a nearby building and revealed the true form of Oolong. They take Oolong with them on the search. They then go through the desert and Bulma is tired as always. Tarble picks her up and continues on the way. Bulma blushes, but Tarble gets confused as to why she's getting red before realizing. Bulma knew he knew, but he didn't care enough. They come across Yamcha and he proposes a fight. Kakarot steps up again, accepts the challenge and punches Yamcha a new one. Then they arrive at the Fire Mountain and search for the Dragon Ball there. They come across the Ox King and he takes them on. Gine just rushes in and blocks the sword sweep. Then Vegeta arrives and sees the burning mountain and extinguishes it by just blowing air into it. Roshi's impressed and wants to train the boy, but Vegeta says that he's already training with Gohan. Roshi mentions Gohan used to be his student, so having his relatives ought to be even more interesting. Vegeta declined, saying he doesn't need any training, but Kakarot and Gine do agree, not to become stronger, but to make housing for Gohan a lot easier. Vegeta and Tarble cut upon it and decided they will too go live with the Turtle Hermit, but once they finish their trips. They say their goodbyes to Roshi and the Ox King and depart. They go find the rest of the Dragon Balls, and during the trip, they come across the Pilaf gang and they get trapped. Vegeta just punches through the wall and reveals Pilaf's lair. He gets his Dragon Balls back and they summon Shenron. Bulma is hesitating about the wish. Oolong is about to make a wish, but then Vegeta asks Shenron to revive his entire race. Shenron briefly explains that he cannot revive people that have been dead for over a year or longer and to wish for something else. Gine is kind of bummed that it didn't work, but also glad as she grew to like this new life and to cherish it to the best of her ability. Vegeta saw the words to have some truth to them as he really enjoys Earth. Tarble agreed and so did Kakarot. Vegeta then asked for another wish, which is to be teleported to the Grand Priest of the Cosmos. As much confusion as it added, It was quickly rejected by Shenron yet again that he cannot do wishes of this magnitude as he cannot alter the powers of the deities higher than regular Kais. Vegeta was bummed yet again, but Gine went to comfort him. Bulma then spoke her wish to have the most handsome prince as her boyfriend. Shenron sort of sarcastically said that there are two right beside her as they speak, technically granting the wish and scattering the Dragon Balls. Bulma looked at Vegeta and Tarble and she noticed that Tarble is a bit more mannered and collected, so she decided to pursue him. Tarble has no complaints and the gang congratulates him, with Vegeta teasing him all the way back home about marriage and whatnot. Gine was feeling bad for Tarble, so she told Vegeta to calm the teasing down a little. So Vegeta replied that having a woman to tell him what to do is quite a perk on this planet. The sentence alone wasn't confusing to anyone, but Gine took it a bit weird and started acting dumb and a little bit violent. The gang travels to the beach where they found a turtle and they tell it to lead them to Roshi's island. The turtle is more than happy to help and leads them into the deep seas. They notice the pink house with a big ass sign saying Kame House and they fly up to it, knocking on the door. Bulma is dragged home by Tarble and Oolong is left to his own devices once he reaches the city. When it comes to the four, they are happily accommodated and everyone has their own place to sleep, which is already a lot better than Gohan's crib. With a bigger house and even bigger spirits, they began training under Roshi. Roshi offers all of them turtle shells to improve their agility. Kakarot and Gine are frankly the only ones that can use them properly, since they don't really have that much power at all. Tarble and Vegeta mostly spar with each other, while Kakarot and Gine plow the fields. It's been about a year and not much has changed. Bulma and Tarble have gotten closer and are properly dating, even though Tarble has no idea how to date on this new planet. Kakarot was flying around and trying to catch some food when he came across a little girl being chased by a dinosaur, so he went to help her out. He used his new speed to get right under the dino and kick it right in the gut, sending him in the air as well. He dashed to get the girl and bring her to safety. The girl became extremely blushed and thanks Kakarot. Kakarot simply replies no problem. They begin talking a little and introduce each other. Kakarot realizes that she is the daughter of the Ox King that they went to get the Dragon Ball from. Just at that moment, Yamcha passes by and notices Kakarot and vice versa. Kakarot calls Yamcha to come by and Yamcha does, even with his PTSD. The three held a pretty decent conversation as Chi-Chi simped for Kakarot, Yamcha simped for Chi-Chi, and Kakarot looked at Yamcha's massive gap in his teeth from when he introduced Yamcha to the ground. The gang returned back to the Kame House and Kakarot introduced Chi-Chi and Yamcha. Vegeta smirked at Yamcha since Yamcha was the one to get bodied and Gine went to annoy her son with the love jokes, blushing both Kakarot and Chi-Chi. But deep down, Gine is really sad after the destruction of their planet. She misses both her man and eldest son since they both died on the planet. She glances over to Vegeta to see him meditating and channeling his ki around him. Yamcha is looking at Vegeta and wondering how he's doing that, so he approaches him. Vegeta simply replies to ask Roshi to teach him. Vegeta then notices that Gine is staring at him and Gine looks away fast. Chi-Chi also decided to train with Roshi, but seeing his nature, she steers clear a bit to train with Kakarot and Gine. And so, the trio starts training. It's been yet another year and not much has changed. Although Vegeta tried taking a few trips to Zeno's palace again. He tried fighting the Zeno guards and the fights went inconclusive, with Vegeta coming back with a few scuffs. Gine was worried every time he came back, wondering how did he get damaged and who did he fight. She wondered if he tried fighting the prophetic Super Saiyan God and constantly failed. Vegeta notices the confusion and asks Gine what is wrong. Gine goes into a rant about him constantly going into space on his own to fight someone and wonders if it's the prophetic Super Saiyan God, since he comes back all battered and everything. Vegeta is interesting to know Gine is caught on, so he pulls her aside and tells her the entire story. When he gained consciousness for the first time, he had this need to go check out the middle of the cosmos, where all the rest of 12 universes were laying in. Gine is a bit confused, so Vegeta puts it all into proper context. He explains how every time he got there, he was forbidden to go in there by the guards and the whole place was filled with a dark mist. Also, going into detail how the whole place gives out a very weird vibe. Gine is still confused, but can't get the fact that it's something serious. Vegeta finishes the story and Gine is even more concerned and tells him not to go there until he gets stronger. Vegeta likes the idea and is aiming for that, but he physically cannot get stronger because he has no one to train with and the battles with the guards are barely giving him any strength from the Zenkai boosts. Gine stops in her tracks and asks about the Zenkai. Vegeta says that it's a Saiyan body mechanic that allows them to become stronger after every fight. That sparks an idea in Gine's head, to abuse the use of Zenkai on her, Kakarot and Tarble, so that when he goes to fight those guards again, so that they can put up more of a fight next time. Vegeta likes the idea, but seeing how weak they are compared to him, it's going to be quite the process and he fears that something will happen during their training. With that, he collects his Saiyan friends and decides to train with them properly for the first time. The first time training goes well and it was quite slow to get everyone to first form Frieza level. But Roshi came by, gave them some pointers and also mentioned Korin, who trained him back in his time. He explains how Korin has these items called sensu beans and how they can heal and fill up a person with just one bean, leading them to the tower and traveling up with them to show them. Korin greets his old disciple and meets the Saiyans, then gets to the topic. Roshi asks Korin if he has any sensu to spare and by sheer luck, he does. Roshi then tells Vegeta to punch him as hard as he wants and to hurt him as much as he wants. Then he will eat the bean to showcase how it works. Vegeta is happy to help and goes to town hurting Roshi by dislocating his jaw, breaking his arm and ribs, and cracking his skull in multiple places. Enough to destroy the old man, but not enough to kill him or render him useless. Roshi is then fed the sensu and Vegeta can't believe when Roshi gets up like nothing has ever happened. Vegeta says that he will take 100 of those sensu, but Korin only has a dozen. Disappointed a little, Vegeta takes the dozen. Korin is kind of confused as to what he needs them for, but Vegeta just says to get stronger. Kakarot and Tarble thank the cat and they leave as fast as they came. Once home, they start the laborious process of getting stronger with the newly acquired sensu beans. They go and get a bunch more powerful with those sensu beans, but nowhere near close to Vegeta. Gine mentions that it's quite the slow process and Vegeta is concerned about that, so they need to find a good way to get stronger using their urban legend, the Super Saiyan transformation. Tarble knows a little bit about the form from the planet he was originally on and goes into detail how it's a transformation for a Saiyan once he reaches a certain power level and grief from trauma. Vegeta is interested but doesn't think anyone has had anything closely traumatic to the requirements that are needed. Bulma, who happened to be there, is interested in the topic and when she finds out about their plan, she just says to ask Shenron. Vegeta hasn't thought of that at all and neither did anyone else, so they get to it. Bulma already had the first two, so all the gang had to do is to find the other 5. Once the Dragon Balls were all in one place, Shenron was summoned, and Vegeta wished to know how to transform into a Super Saiyan. Shenron is a bit confused, but fulfills the wish. Shenron first explains the myth of the Super Saiyans and then the theory. They all heard the whole anger issue way, so Vegeta asks Shenron if there was a different way. Since it's part of the wish, Shenron just skips to the part about the back tingle and how the power is supposed to be channeled to the upper part of the back, where most S cells reside. Hearing that, Gine tries and powers up, but can't control it all that well. Vegeta is in awe to see the development happen right before his eyes. Roshi also sensed Gine's power to be quite a lot higher than before. Kakarot tried too, and even though a child, he still had enough power and strength to transform. Tarble tried doing the same and he was able to, but just barely. Little Kakarot thanks Shenron and Shenron splits up into Dragon Balls. Vegeta then tries, but his is a bit different. His power skyrockets way past anyone and the whole place around him becomes rubble. He notices his power is too much for Kame House to handle, so he goes and takes it to the ocean, followed by the Saiyans. Once nothing was around him, he began the transformation. His power doubled by every second and he had pink arcs all around him, with a pink aura to accompany that intense power. Vegeta came out of the smoke with a flaring pink aura and pink hair. No one knew what kind of a form this is, not even Vegeta, but it differed so much from all of their forms simply due to that. Not only that, but the power was so intense. At first they thought since he was immensely more powerful, but that could be felt by the air pressure. This was way different, and it was so much more powerful. The problem was as following. Vegeta couldn't control that power so well, as he drained a lot out of him. The gang was confused, as it was basically a Super Saiyan form, but Vegeta claimed he just didn't control his energy well, saying he might need help with that first before anything else. With that, Vegeta visits Master Roshi for advice and/or training. Roshi mentions how the Guardian of planet Earth accepts students if they prove to be worthy. The Saiyans hear that and ask about it, so Roshi explains the whole thing. Once the power pole is set on top of Korin's tower, it will extend to the base of Kami's lookout. Vegeta has heard of such a thing, but can't put the two and two together. Gine speaks up about Gohan having a red stick that can extend. Roshi confirms that as the power pole they need, so Gine heads for Gohan's house to get it. Vegeta asks if he knows what kind of training awaits them up there, but Roshi has got no clue, as he was never up there. Korin told him about the Guardian and all that, but he never went up there on his own. Vegeta acknowledged that, so with that said, they go to Korin's and tell Kakarot to go to his mom to tell her they're gonna wait there. Kakarot does so and they all go to Korin. Over at Korin's, Vegeta greets Korin and they explain their situation. Korin says they're a bit dumb, which Vegeta takes personally and threatens Korin. Gine and Kakarot arrive at Korin's tower and Gine places the power pole on the tip of Korin's tower. The power pole starts going up and Korin mentions how the power pole just goes straight up and they can fly, so it was pointless. Turbo and Vegeta see what Korin meant and they cringe out from their own stupidity. That said, they begin their journey. As they're all flying up, they wonder what this Guardian is like. Apparently, if he can make Dragon Balls, he must be extremely powerful compared to them. Vegeta wonders if he's on par with him, and if he can make something like Shenron if he learns how. After a nice questionnaire, they arrive on the lookout and see Mr. Popo doing his watering routine as usual when he notices 4 people come up to him, asking him if he's Kami. Popo becomes a bit defensive, asking what they need him for, and Gine replies that he's the strongest being on this planet and if he would like to train them to sense and control energy, that would be pretty good. Popo is quite defensive still, but tells them that Kami is busy. Kami then comes out, asking what all the commotion is about. Seeing the 4 Saiyans, he's relieved to see them and greets them. Turbo is a bit taken aback by Kami's appearance, asking if he's human. Vegeta replies that Kami is not human, but an Namekian that most likely traveled here to become the Earth's next Guardian. He then says that he's been to Namek when Planet Vegeta exploded and that they helped him get back on his feet. Kami was glad his home planet is still in one piece, but changes the topic to their power. He mentions that they're a lot more powerful than him. Once he heard training, they didn't catch up exactly what kind of training. Vegeta gets a bit flustered, saying they can only use counters to sense power level and they need to learn to sense power level since Korin obviously could and Roshi's also able to do that to some extent. Kami saw their intent, so he told Mr. Popo to start their training. Mr. Popo had to abide and decide to start training the Saiyans. Mr. Popo decides to go inside and tells them to wait outside and talk, train, fight, bitch or whatever while he's preparing the training equipment. The Saiyans are confused but decide to train up for the time being. Vegeta and Gine spar together while Turbo and Kakarot train separately. During their training, Vegeta ended up arm-locking Guinea and she became flustered and started flailing her arms around, saying that she's not ready for that. Vegeta lets go and gets confused, then sees Guinea completely red. Vegeta is still confused, but Tarble catches on and goes to his brother, teasing him about going out with an older woman. Vegeta puts the 2 and 2 together and realizes that Guinea is mad into him. He blushes and flies off to the other side of the lookout. Kakarot lands a kick on Tarble and that reinitiates the battle they had. Kami comes out, hearing the commotion, and asks Tarble and Kakarot about it. Kakarot is a bit confused, still being young, but Tarble says that Vegeta and Guinea have hots for each other. Kami laughs his ass out, seeing that a couple had been revealed on his lookout for the first time. After they all laugh it off, Kami becomes serious and the two become weirded out. Kami gets scared and says that someone is coming to kill them off as they speak. Tarble goes to get his brother and Kakarot goes to get his mother. Tarble finds Vegeta on the ladders to the top of the lookout, hanging off of his tail, and he can tell that something went south. All 4 Saiyans come up to the lookout and ask Kami what's wrong. Kami says that he has come in contact with the North Kai, who told him all destroyers are coming over to planet Earth along with their angels. That freaked out all the Saiyans, but Vegeta wasn't surprised and said that they are probably coming after him. Kami is weirded out, but Vegeta continues that the Grand Priest is probably monitoring him and that he saw that Vegeta got a lot stronger, becoming a bit scared for his own life. Therefore, he must have given permission to destroyers and angels alike to go dispose of him while they still have a chance. Taking that in, Kami says that they should probably enter the hyperbolic time chamber so they have more of a chance at winning. Kami began to explain how the destroyers were extremely powerful, even by their standards, but Vegeta interrupted him, already knowing all of that. One thing that he was weirded out by is why didn't Beerus come and kill him when he was just born? That said, they need to prepare right away. Vegeta decides not to go into the time chamber as it will only slow his training down if he can't learn anything. So, he asks Kami to teach him that energy control so that he can transform. Kami assured him that it's really easy and to just try and calming his power as a start. He knew how to control his power, so he told Kami so. Kami figured that the only thing that remains is him calming it and bursting it only wherever necessary. Vegeta tries that right away with his new form, and at first he was really struggling, but he then only focused his power to the tingle in the back and he managed to do it. He figured that it will take some time getting used to, but nevertheless, he's basically ready. Guinea took the same advice and calmed her energy down, and now she utilizes her Super Saiyan almost perfectly. Just then, the clouds split and Kami shits his pants, seeing people descend from the skies. Vegeta gets in his stance already in the form, but he froze when he saw the former Xenoguards and Daishinkan in a crowd of destroyers. Daishinkan descends down to confront Vegeta and his friends. Daishinkan walks over to Vegeta and greets him, asking if he wanted to see him. Vegeta subconsciously knew one thing. He has a task to kill Daishinkan, and he states exactly that to him. Daishinkan laughs it off, saying he will need more than that to beat him up. But Vegeta doesn't spare any time and starts powering up like he usually would. Of course, with the newfound skill and form, he multiplies his power drastically while keeping maximum control. After sensing he's at his peak, he decides that he's done with the power up and charges at Daishinkan. Daishinkan just barely manages to dodge, not even expecting such power from Vegeta. Vegeta constantly keeps trying to hit Daishinkan but fails miserably. Daishinkan that teleports away and signals all the destroyers to attack Vegeta. With Daishinkan ditching the area, Vegeta is left alone with every single destroyer in existence, lined up to fight him. Vegeta is very cautious and tells Guinea and the rest to go into the hyperbolic time chamber as he will take them all on at once, turning his attention back to the destroyers and starting to flare his aura. Kami and Popo lead them to the time chamber, with Kami entering, leaving Mr. Popo to watch on and hope for the best. Vegeta begins his usual onslaught on the said destroyers and completely dominates them all with extreme ease. Beerus was left last for Vegeta to question, but Beerus decided to tell him that he's not worthy of the OMNI King status and that it should have been Daishinkan. Vegeta tried as much as he could to get Beerus to snap out of it, but nothing worked. With one quick motion, Beerus is dead at last. The angels then began to intervene, seeing their destroyers get ironically destroyed, but that did not stop them, despite them supposed to be out of commission when the destroyer dies. Whis was the first to get into the fight and he landed a punch on Vegeta, with all the other angels going straight for it. As Vegeta is being rushed by the angels, he gets contacted by King Kai, who says that angels shouldn't fight at all, as they will disappear if they do. Vegeta obviously sees that, but also sees that they're not disappearing and blatantly explains it to the King Kai. King Kai is a bit confused, but lets Vegeta fight them off per request of Vegeta, because he seemingly got angry with King Kai talking to him during the battle. Vegeta is in a pickle, but successfully evades all the attacks they try and throw at him. But he cannot make the right mark on them to fight back, since there's too many of them. He manages to escape and use After Image to get the angels to get confused. Since the angels have permanent Ultra Instinct, they can easily track Vegeta. Vegeta notices that, so he just continues his After Imaging, but with a different approach. He makes all the After Images basically that, After Images. He's using all his power to do this offense, and he's using it. He starts charging a blast, while no one can see him, but then Daishinkan notices it and relays it to the angels, who then are on their extreme guard. Vegeta's plan worked, as the angels managed to huddle up in a circle and wait for what Vegeta is planning. With the speed Vegeta has gone to, the only thing that was left is for the blast to be let go. Keeping the speed up, he goes for a radial attack and shoots his blast, making the Galagun look like a ring, and the ring rushes at the angels at intense speeds. Some angels manage to evade, while other angels, including Whis, are caught right in that ring, which cuts them in half. They die from their injuries right then and there, and the only three that remain use their staff to disappear, leaving Vegeta and Daishinkan alone. With Vegeta already fired up, having used his full power for the first time, he goes and approaches Daishinkan with the intent to finally defeat him for good. Before anything could happen, Daishinkan tells Vegeta to turn around. Behind him were the three angels that escaped the scene, but each of them had someone from the time chamber. Kami, Gine, and Tarbo were out in the open, with keyblades up against their throats. Daishinkan congratulates his children on a well-devised plan and gives Vegeta a choice: spare Kami or kill the rest, spare his heroine and kill the rest, or spare his brother and kill the rest. Vegeta's eyes are wide open in disbelief, witnessing a scene right in front of him. Vegeta screams at Daishinkan to leave them alone, but he wouldn't listen. Vegeta goes back to base as he tries arguing with Daishinkan, but Daishinkan says the clock is ticking and then begins to beat Vegeta up, with the guards helping Daishinkan along. Vegeta is now not only getting beaten up, but also has a very tough decision to make. The only thing that he wishes is to destroy them and wipe them from existence. Daishinkan stopped as he felt a malice within Vegeta building up, much like with Zeno. Vegeta asks once more to let them go, but Daishinkan orders his angels to kill off all three. Just then, Vegeta's hair turned white, and his face became the same color as Zeno. Vegeta then entered a trance, where he saw the palace like he used in Zeno's body, with the Zeno guards taking the order from Daishinkan to kill off Zeno, as he tried resisting, but he was killed very fast. He then saw a flash of light travel to his own baby form, and a voice from Zeno came up, saying now that he unlocked his full potential, he needs to settle the score and rebuild the cosmos. Vegeta raises his hands and gripped them, resulting in the three angels getting erased and Vegeta getting up to face Daishinkan. Daishinkan knew it's over for now and warps back to Zeno's palace, along with his rogue guards. Vegeta comes up to the gang that was in the hostage point and hugged them all, saying that now he's going to settle the score, but first he needs to train up. He finally remembered why he has such power and remembered someone that might help him get stronger. As he finishes that sentence, Gine goes in for a kiss and starts crying. Tarbal and now Kakarot, who came out of the chamber, start cheering on, and the two lovers are embarrassed that they just dip. With it, they return back to Roche's island. After a while, Vegeta meets Kami and asks him a favor. Kami leads him to King Kai, and now Vegeta asks King Kai to locate Miris, an angel in training. King Kai is quite concerned for him, but still complies. King Kai looks around the universe and indeed locates Miris to be at a Galactic Patrol main headquarters at the moment. Vegeta thanks King Kai and leaves. King Kai is wondering what exactly Vegeta is, but doesn't question him much. Vegeta then gets to the Galactic Patrol headquarters and asks around for Miris, to which he's pointed to, but Miris already knows, bowing down to Vegeta in a panic. Vegeta is confused at first, but realizes that he's quite literally a reincarnation of Zeno. Vegeta knows one thing though, that he needs the help from Miris, and judging that Miris bowed down means that Miris isn't corrupt yet. So with that, Vegeta bows down to Miris and asks for help from him. Miris is extremely confused, wondering why the OMNI King is asking him to help. Vegeta takes it outside in private and explains that his father went rogue and every angel is now against him. Judging he's got his past memories restored, Miris looks like he's in good condition and asks Miris to train him. Miris is confused but complies. So Vegeta places the responsibilities on Jaco and gets out of there with Miris. Vegeta leads Miris to Earth and he introduced Miris to the gang. Gine gets scared, but Vegeta reassures her that he's got nothing to do with his father's plans. With that, Vegeta and Miris enter the time chamber and begin the training. Vegeta points out that he knows how to fight but doesn't have enough strength to take his crown back. Miris questions Vegeta though, asking him what happened with Grand Zeno, how does he have his power, and also what forced Daishinkan to go apparently rogue. Vegeta recites his past. He goes into detail how Daishinkan grew tired of being Zeno's pet and everything, ordering the Zeno guards he created to go and cripple Zeno. Zeno died and transferred his powers to Vegeta. Miris takes it all in, wondering what changed his father's mind. Vegeta has only one answer: to gain control of the cosmos. So he explains that he needs to either kill Daishinkan or at least cripple him to dethrone him. Miris doesn't agree with the killing part naturally, so Miris suggests to talk. Vegeta already tried that and says so, but it didn't work. Miris then says he will train Vegeta to master his power to the fullest. Vegeta is happy and the training begins. Outside the time chamber, Gine and Tarbal are sparring with each other, while Kakarot is training by himself in a Super Saiyan form. Bulma is also on the lookout, trying to come up with something to aid in the Saiyan's training, but ends up getting pregnant with Tarbal on the lookout. Kami and Gine are laughing their asses off, wondering how did that happen. So now, we have every Saiyan training and one Saiyan on the way. With Vegeta in the time chamber, the Z Squad basically has nothing to do on the lookout, so Tarbal and Kakarot start training while Gine starts meditating for some goddamn reason. Vegeta in the time chamber is training with Miris, and Miris is trying to get Vegeta to get the mental part of the form down before his strength. So Vegeta starts training mentally. That includes meditation and self-control. Miris suggests that since it's an Omni form, that he needs to control the form and its malice so that he could use it efficiently. Vegeta is kind of dumbfounded but still goes on. Vegeta then asks if he can train in the time chamber so he can master his Omni form, but Miris says that since they're in a time chamber, he cannot really master the form. Sure that Miris can tell him how to master the form, but Miris is not in Vegeta's body, so Vegeta has to figure it out on his own. Vegeta is dumbfounded by the answer, so he asks to elaborate further. Miris says that the time chamber is pretty much immune to the highly divine powers, and so whatever Vegeta does, it won't really aid him to the mastery. Vegeta takes that and so continues his mental training. Back outside of the time chamber on the lookout, Gine is extremely impatient, while Tarble and Kakarot are training. Gine asked Kami to enter the time chamber so that she could train with Vegeta and Miris. Kami is a bit reluctant since Vegeta opted to go in there alone with Miris, but Gine's impatience is growing, so Kami lets her in. Kami tells Popo to open the doors to the time chamber to let Gine in, and Mr. Popo does so. With that, Gine enters the time chamber and greets Vegeta and Miris. Vegeta is surprised to see Gine in the time chamber, and Miris just welcomes her with open arms. Gine asks to be trained, so Vegeta and Miris accept the challenge. But before that, Miris asks Gine what does she aim with all her power once she's trained. Gine simply replies that Vegeta will need some good teammates so that the final battle with Daishinkan will be successful. Miris takes that and Vegeta welcomes her yet again. Back on the lookout, Kakarot and Tarble are both training in their Super Saiyan forms, trying to get stronger. Kami came up to both of them and suggested that they should train with their base forms only, as he suspects that the forms they use are merely just multipliers to their power. Kakarot and Tarble actually do consider that, and so they go back to base and start training again, but this time a bit more challenging. Bulma goes down from the lookout back home to Capsule Corp. As she's pregnant and also just a human, she figured that she might as well just thwart with her plans since they're training, and so she goes back home. Going back to Tarble and Kakarot, they both got their clay dummies so they too can learn how to sense ki, and eventually they both get it. Back in the time chamber, Vegeta has finished his mental training and is going over to the physical training. Gine on the other hand is training with Miris so that she could control her ki. That may not be such show now, but later down the road, Miris wanted Gine to master God Ki so that she could use it at will. Vegeta on the other hand was doing a lot of push-ups and sit-ups while he was waiting. So when his time came, Miris and Vegeta started sparring. Vegeta said that he will be using his base form, since Miris did say that the base form is basically it and that the forms are just power multipliers of base form. Miris is happy with the answer, and so they begin the training, while Gine is working on her ki control. In less than half a year, Gine and Vegeta have made quite a good bit of progress. Vegeta is a lot more powerful, and Gine has accessed a Super Saiyan Blue transformation. Vegeta is finally glad to see another color apart from yellow and pink. And Miris is also proud of Gine. Vegeta on the other hand has mastered his mental burdens and is able to use his Omni form to the best of his ability. And also he got extremely powerful from just training with Miris. But setting that aside, Miris tells Vegeta that their training is now done and that Gine can stay, but Vegeta has to get out, as his mastery of the Omni form is pretty nerfed in the time chamber, so going back to the real world might actually boost the potential. Vegeta says that sure he can train Gine, but Gine says that she's also going out. Vegeta is fine with that, and so is Miris, and so all three head out. Once they're out of the time chamber, Mr. Popo congratulates them on their very first training regime in a time chamber. Vegeta just says thanks, Gine is kinda flustered, and Miris says that the deed is done, and that the fight with Daishinkan will soon be at bay. Kakarot and Tarble also join in on a conversation, saying how Gine is so much more powerful, but they cannot sense the ki at all. Miris just says that she has attained something called God Ki, and that it cannot be sensed by normal mortals. Kakarot and Tarble are a bit confused, but they still let it slide. So at this point, the only thing they can do is go back to Kame House. Back at Kame House, Roshi and the turtle greet them back, and also asks what has been going on for the past couple of days. Vegeta just says that Gine is mad in love with him and that Bulma is mad pregnant with Tarble. Roshi congratulates Tarble, but Tarble is just way too flustered to take it in. Roshi then goes to Gine and asks her when the marriage is gonna go down with Vegeta. Gine just slaps him across his head and Roshi starts laughing, along with everybody else there. Either way, Vegeta and Gine decided to settle at Kame House, while Tarbell and Bulma are gonna settle down in Capsule Corp and live a happy life. Of course, Vegeta is not gonna skip out on training, as he has to defeat Daishinkan as quick as he possibly can and also master his Omni form. It's been quite a while and a lot has changed. Vegeta has gotten stronger, Gine has gotten stronger since the two sparred, and also both Gine and Vegeta and Kakarot and Bulma has gotten married. Bulma has gotten her first child called Trunks, and Vegeta and Gine have their child on the way, with Kakarot cringing over there for having the thought of having a little brother. Not only that, but Vegeta and Gine actually decided to move back to Gohan's place. But when they witnessed that Gohan has actually died there with the 4-star Dragon Ball in hand, they had to pay the respects and give him a nice funeral. With Tarbell, Gine, Vegeta, Bulma, and everyone else there for the funeral. Roshi, Vegeta, and Gine have given a proper speech, but it did not stop Gine and Vegeta from moving in on Gohan's house. Miras also decided to drop by, say hi to Vegeta and Gine, and also talk with them for a little bit. Vegeta has actually mastered his Omni Ki to the fullest of potential and now is ready to face Daishinkan. Miras says not to pull the plug just yet, as they have to wait for Daishinkan to arrive first, kinda like a second coming. Gine said that she also progressed with her Super Saiyan Blue, saying that she can use it at will and also without any strain. Miras is quite happy about that and tells Gine to train harder. Vegeta on the other hand is told once again not to go to Daishinkan's, Zeno's palace to go and fight Daishinkan, as they have to wait for Daishinkan to come by, especially because Miras wants Daishinkan to explain himself. Vegeta agrees and tells Miras that he will not do anything up until Daishinkan arrives. So up until then, Vegeta and Gine start living a happy life. Vegeta waits along with Gine for Miras to give them the green light so that they can go and face Daishinkan and defeat him once and for all. During the wait, Gine says that she cannot take part in this fight since she doesn't want to disturb the fetus. Vegeta is fine with it and just goes along alone. Tarbell also joins the party and asks if he can go along. Vegeta tells Tarbell that he's not so strong that he can go and defeat anyone Daishinkan throws at them. Gine translates that to tell him that he's too weak to go and fight off Daishinkan. Tarbell is fine with that, but is still very scared for his own brother. Finally, Miras starts the call, and Vegeta is the only one there. Miras asks Vegeta where's Gine, and Vegeta simply replies that she's pregnant and that she cannot fight at her full potential. Miras respects that decision, and then they go on their merry way to Zeno's palace. At Zeno's palace, Miras and Vegeta are calmly waiting for the Zeno guards to come out so that they can go and fight them off so that Daishinkan can finally come out and get the final battle up and going. Sure enough, Zeno guards arrive and Vegeta and Miras prepare for battle. Zeno guards charge at full speed and Vegeta manages to fend them off. Miras, on the other hand, goes and visits Daishinkan inside the palace. Once he reaches the main quarters, Daishinkan is just there, waiting for him. Miras' first question to Daishinkan was basically why is he doing all of this. Daishinkan just repeats what he repeated to Vegeta, to gain control of the cosmos and to become the next Omni King, before the actual Omni King who was there before him screwed everything up. Miras then decided to fight his father right then and there, without even trying to think of any consequences that might go his way. Either way, Miras and Daishinkan start the battle. Meanwhile, outside, with Vegeta and the Xenoguards, Vegeta already defeated one of the Xenoguards and is on to the next. Vegeta was using his Omni form to gain control of the battle, and now, once one Xenoguard was down, the other one soon met his fate. But once Vegeta was about to go and head inside himself, a female voice told him to stop. Vegeta thought it may have been Gine, but he turns around and it turns out it's Konoha, the Supreme Kai of time. Konoha simply replies that Mirus is fighting Daishinkan, his father, and that not to interrupt. Vegeta is very perplexed about this whole decision of Mirus's, but still respects it, treating Mirus like a Saiyan in battle. He then asks Konoha what is she doing here. Konoha says that she's been following the entire ordeal ever since the Omni King died, but she was way too weak to go and interrupt the whole scene, as she knew that she would die if she did. Vegeta just takes Konoha's hand and goes inside to at least go and observe Daishinkan's and Mirus' battle. During the trip there, Vegeta asks Konoha if Toki is actually safe. Konoha replies that he sure is safe and that he's been taken care of by someone who she's found. Vegeta is fine with that, and then they arrive at the Zenos Palace main quarters, where they see Mirus and Daishinkan heavily going at it. Vegeta tells Konoha to go and hide behind him, as she doesn't need to be seen by Daishinkan just in case things go south. Konoha abides and does so, while Mirus and Daishinkan are going all out. But even with Mirus handling his own, Daishinkan is already too much more powerful for Mirus to handle. So Mirus gets brought to his knees by his own father, as Daishinkan told him to just give up and abide him and his every word that he says. Mirus rejects the proposal and tries getting back up, but Daishinkan is way too strong and keeps his foot on Mirus' head, telling him that he's a terrible son and that he should have never created him, killing him on the spot. Vegeta sees Mirus just lying on the ground motionless and slowly disappearing away. That gets Vegeta into rage mode as he tells Konoha to go and hide behind one of the pillars, as Vegeta gets in on a fight, already in his Omni form, ready for battle. Daishinkan is there watching on Vegeta, proud that he's actually come by and breached through his forces. Vegeta has already endured too much of Daishinkan's bullshit and just goes straight for it. Vegeta lets his anger get to his head and Daishinkan blocks the first punch because of that. Since his Omni form is driven by rage, Vegeta cannot really control it without rage. So Vegeta tries to compensate with it by trying to focus his rage on the battle itself instead of raging over Daishinkan for doing what he did. Before long, Vegeta adapted to the situation and started handling Daishinkan like he's nothing. Daishinkan though wasn't in his full power, so Daishinkan goes full power and Vegeta is finally tied with Daishinkan. However, Vegeta hasn't displayed everything that he had, so Vegeta went full power and the battle continued. Vegeta started throwing Daishinkan left and right, trying to dominate Daishinkan into failure and losing the battle. But Daishinkan never gave up, thinking that the place as an Omni King for him is imminent and that Vegeta needs to give up first and give him his power. Vegeta didn't really care, nor did he know how to actually transfer powers, so Vegeta just beat him to the ground, beating out Daishinkan's ego out of his head. But Vegeta wasn't done yet. Just as Vegeta was slowly creeping to Daishinkan to go and beat him up once again, but then a giant portal appeared right in between them and Daishinkan was nowhere to be seen. As Vegeta was trying to figure out what the hell is going on, Daishinkan is seen getting dropped to the ground and another Vegeta lookalike right next to him with Daishinkan cold dead on the floor and another Vegeta looking straight at him. The lookalike then started to speak. Okay, hold up. Before you say anything, I just want to say that this has been going on for too long and I'm just waiting on a sideline, so I just made it quick. And
who in the hell are you?
Oh god damn it. Do I really have to fucking introduce myself every goddamn time? My name is Michael and I'm basically here to recruit you to join the Tournament of Vegetas that is happening once I reach around 10,000 subscribers, which you would know nothing about and you don't have to, but basically it will be soon because if you guys don't subscribe, no Tournament of Vegeta, no 10k sub special, and also no better videos. Yeah. Vegeta, it's a yes or no question. Do you want to battle other Vegetas from different timelines, or do you want to stay here and be a kook?
You're goddamn right I will.
Good, perfect. And I'll be going now because I have different Vegetas to recruit right now. So if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. With that, Vegeta watched Michael go back through the portal into his own world. Vegeta has finally gained control of the cosmos and is now an Omni King of the multiverse. Vegeta then requested for the Super Dragon Balls to go and get gathered as he wants to get Mirrors back into life. Kronoa, as the Supreme Kai of Time, finds all 7 Super Dragon Balls in a matter of seconds. With that, Vegeta goes and gathers them all in a quick second and summons Super Shenron. Once summoned, Vegeta asks Super Shenron to revive Mirrors, and the wish is granted, with Mirrors coming right back up from getting deleted. Since Mirrors helped Vegeta so much during the entire thing, Mirrors is appointed by Vegeta to be a Grand Priest. Mirrors takes the job and thanks Vegeta profusely, but Vegeta just says no problem, and the whole cosmos is now at balance, with new angels coming out left and right, and the entirety of the cosmos restored back into its equilibrium. With a new recruit for the Tournament of Vegetas, we're done with the series. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment on what shall I do next. Like if you liked the video, dislike if I have no riz, check out my Discord server in the description below, and as always, peace out.